Hello there, you may call me Miss Introvert, and today we are going to talk about my trip to London that happened in March with my school because I want to and it's fun. I also know that it can help with writing, traveling that is, it can help with getting more inspiration, and that is something that I need a lot. So we're going to talk about that today, and if you're in need of some inspiration, if you ever get the chance to travel, I would 100% recommend it, whether it's your first time or your 50th time. It's stressful, it's a lot, it costs money, but it's really, really fun. But yeah, it's really fun. And I also want my future self to look back on this in case she starts to wonder why traveling sounds like a good idea if she's presented with the opportunity again, because I was presented with the opportunity to go to London like 2 years ago, and I had those 2 years to think about it, and then I did it. But there was a lot of contemplation that went into that, and a lot of it was mostly nerves, and I didn't want to do it because I was scared. We'll get into that in the story. Before I start, remember to like this video and subscribe and comment down below the best place you have ever traveled to. And again, if you ever get the chance to travel, just know that if you are a writer, if you are anything, the inspiration will overflow because there will be so many new things to look at and a lot of old things to look at too. So yeah, it's a lot, but it's fun. Now let's begin. Stop slouching. Alright, so it all started 2 Octobers ago when I was visiting the school that I currently go to now. I was visiting it for the first time. Next semester is senior year, so yay! Why did I do the Wallace and Gromit thing? Cheese! Cheese is my first word. When I was a baby, my first word was cheese. And I'm dairy free. I can't have dairy. Those of you who can't have dairy know why. I can't have dairy. My first word was cheese, so that's really sad. I don't know if I'm dairy free or lactose. I don't know the difference between dairy and lactose. Somebody tell me. Someone comment down below the difference between dairy and lactose. That's not the point. When I was visiting, the head of the English department told me about the London trip that was happening. Not the next March, but the March after. The March that just happened in the year of 2022, the year that we are in now. And yeah, the school was planning it. You could get some extra credit hours in if you wanted to, but I just went for fun since I already had the necessary credit hours that I need. Fast forward to the next October or September, maybe November. No, it was September. Or it was October, I don't know. One of my English profs brought it up to our class. We had to make the decision relatively soon because I think that the deadline was November or January. That's a wide range. Yeah, I have no idea. But I decided to go kind of in the spur of the moment after talking to my parents about it and all of their wisdom. And then by the next October, the October right after I heard about it, like the year after, it was all settled. I got my passport, I got a lot of packing prep done, and an entire extra class, and by March 2022, we were off. Now, getting out of my dorm, that was an ordeal. Not because of packing or sleeping in or getting last minute things organized. There is no such thing as sleeping in for me when there is a place that I have to go to early in the morning. No. I will be up all night because I'll be thinking about it. Fixating on it. I was all packed. I was all ready to go. The night before, I had 2 cups of coffee in my system in preparation for the day ahead, and snacks ready to go for the airport and the airplane ride and blah, 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 and breakfast was easy peasy. But the anxiety was terrible. I got out of bed at 6, got all the way ready, I grabbed my suitcases by myself. I was like ready to go by myself, and all the while I was thinking to myself, I've never done this before. It was so weird. Like, I've never done that before. And I'm an adult, and there are so many adults who have done, like, all of these things and more and are younger than me, which is crazy. Well, but I mean, good for you, that's awesome. I'm like a super reserved and shy person, and I don't like traveling because it's scary. But I went. I rolled my suitcase out the door, and right before double checking and everything, and I was off. It was scary, but I was off. And it was a nice day out on campus. I rolled my suitcase across a couple streets until I reached the bus in one of the parking lots. And there we all were, and all of a sudden we were driving in the bus to the airport, and then we made it through security, and we were boarding our flight to our overlay. Is it layover or overlay? I think it's layover. Overlay? I don't know. to our next flight in Canada. So we had to go from US to Canada to London. After that flight was a long wait in Canada with schoolwork and long lines and writing and talking and food and coffee. Breathing into masks. Also, did I mention that COVID was still a risk factor? Basically, back in January, I think it was like right before spring semester started, we had some concerns about the new variants of COVID coming, and there was a risk that we might have to stay back and not go to London if we tested positive, or even worse, we would have to stay in London if we tested positive for COVID in London. For, I think it was like 5 to 10 days you'd have to stay to like recover and everything. Because, I mean, you can't take COVID on a plane with you. That's ludicrous. That bugged me for a long time before the trip and during the trip, so you can bet I wore that mask the whole time. I had my vaccination card on me and copies of everything on me the whole time, so I was very prepared, probably over-prepared. I felt kind of weird because I was wearing my mask, like, even right before meals while we were sitting down at tables in restaurants, and I was like, nope, 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 nope. Unless we're eating, unless I am actively eating, I'm not going to take this off. So that's how that happened. I don't know how you guys feel about COVID or safety or germs. I don't like germs to begin with. After I started wearing the mask, like, I rarely got sick, and I don't like being sick. So that was really nice. I like masks. Yay, masks. Finally, we made it to London after like a 6-hour flight, and I watched the new Ghostbusters movie, and it was okay. We landed in London, and we waited for everyone to get off the plane, and I went into full excitement mode while we were waiting for everyone to get off the plane. I was far from my home. I felt brave and ready and eager to get my baggage and use the bathroom and start exploring. And it was about to be fast-paced. We literally spent the night on our flight. We left the airport, plus there's like a whole time change, so night into morning, which is weird. We put our baggage in our hotel and immediately left to explore the city of London with our tour guide. And yeah, it was a long day. Coffee was an extravagant blessing when we got it. Now, not even in America, which I have also not seen much of, except for maybe Florida and South Carolina, North Carolina for like vacations and stuff, like driving through the following states from Illinois, where I live, to from Illinois, where I live, to Florida. I've also been to Wisconsin because my grandparents live there. I like it there and it's cold. I've never seen like this kind of atmosphere with all of these bustling streets. Everything was new and big and crowded, but it was beautiful, and it was like, I wasn't like scared of it like I usually am, just scared of crowds. It was like, it was so new, and it was so colorful, and there were all sorts of different people and colorful buildings, and everything was so old and yet so cluttered with the newness of today, and the combinations were just astounding with the driving cars on cobblestone roads. But there were too many cars since everyone was pretty much walking mostly, trying to get to where they needed to go. And it was kind of stressful sometimes, trying to like veer through people and stay with your group. If you've ever been to London, it's a lot of fast-paced walking, trying to stay out of people's way. And also, usually walking on the left side instead of the right side of people. And even if I tried to pass someone on the right, they'd be like, what are you doing? So sometimes running to catch the tubes. Our first stop was Covent Gardens, which was beautiful. If you've been there, you know what I mean. Everything from the flowers to the old buildings and the streets and the pigeons and the antique shops and all the dancing, and the open restaurant center, the live music, and there was a dad dancing with a little girl in front of these like violin and cello players while people clapped, and it felt like something out of a movie, and I loved every second of it. It was in like an enclosed space, and there was like a balcony you could look over into like this lower area of tables and chairs and people just eating and enjoying themselves and listening to music and playing music, and it was just so beautiful. It was so beautiful. It felt like something out of a Disney movie. Next, we went to Trafalgar Square, where we saw Ukraine protests, huge crowds with more music playing and kids climbing on top of those lion statues and one voice yelling something about like ending violence, and then the rest of the voices chanting about ending violence, and it felt like something out of Les Miserables. And afterwards we went to Westminster Abbey for the evensong service. There was mention of Ukraine during the prayer, and then outside the Abbey you could hear all of them chanting. You could hear all the protests and all the shouts while like you're in the silence of just one voice praying in the Abbey, and then you hear like all the other sounds outside of it. So that was powerful, combined with the statuary and the singing of the adult and children's choir. I don't know what that's called, but it was so beautiful. Wow. And they were all singing in Latin and praying in Latin, and just it was gorgeous. It was glorious. And Trafalgar Square wasn't just protests, even though that was mostly what the day consisted of, because we had happened to land in Europe during a protest. But I mean, it was really cool to see, and I'm glad that I saw it. I got to walk around the museums for a little bit. Not go into them. That was a few days after, but lots of walking outside. I lost my tube ticket. I forget what it's called. I still have the other copy that they gave to me, but I was like, I think I had it in the same pocket as I had my phone in, and I was like slipping my phone in and out of my pocket, taking pictures of everything because I'm a tourist. And I think it dropped out. Like, while I was taking out my phone, it must have dropped out one of the times. And then I remember, like, I kept checking for it and just being like, yep, it's there. Yep, it's there. Nope, it's not there. Where did it go? And I looked behind me and I was like, I can't go back now because my tour group is still moving and I had to keep up with them. So I just told my one of my profs about it, and she was like, oh, we'll just get you another one. And it was fine. So they had, like, extra copies. That was super great. But I felt so bad. But I didn't let it get to me because I usually do that. And I wanted to enjoy things, not stew on things. But yeah, after that, we went through the Strand where we got some coffee and snacks, and we saw some of those, like, really cool guards on their horses, and they had, like, their swords, and they were super intimidating, and you had to, like, step out of the way so that they could get through. And, I don't know, their shift of the day. We saw Big Ben, and we had dinner at a really nice restaurant, and I don't remember the name of any of the restaurants I went to. I bet I could find them somewhere, but let me know if you guys want me to make a day 2 video, because I don't want to fill up my Mac storage too much before posting this. But anyway, that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Follow me on the socials and stay basic. I've been forgetting to say that, I apologize. Okay, bye.